We're all one. I'm one with everyone. You, me, the Olsen twins, Harry Potter, if he existed, the whore on the street corner, your mother. We're all one. Welcome into the Bro 4 Squad podcast. This is episode 86, and we're just a bunch of bros drinking beer and watching movies. What is happening over there? For you at home, Brian Banner is attempting to open a beer bottle with the back end of a hammer, and you can hear it. All right. Very cool. Actually, that'll lead us right into our intros. I'm your host, Jeff Hornacek. Thank you guys so much for checking us out. Let's go around and meet the fellow bros. Banner, let's start with you since you're the star of the show early on. First off, since you're a mad scientist, do you know what this rash is? And is there anything that you know of that I can do to get rid of it?
Yeah, you're going to need a little lighter fluid, a little bit of bleach, a 6-pack of Natty Light, and some anti-bee sting ointment. You should be fine.
What is the order that I use those in?
Yeah.
All right.
And
you know what's
just
funny?
For the folks at home, it's been a complete shit show. I spilt my drink all over me. Then I came in here, was like, yeah, we're ready to go, and realized I didn't have a bottle opener, but I did have a hammer, so we should be good to go.
Have you seen those videos of it's usually chicks for some reason, but they open beer bottles with their teeth?
Yeah, I can't do that.
No, it makes me really nervous.
It hurts my teeth thinking about it.
Yeah. Speaking of hurts, we go to our enforcer in the paint, Matt Geiger. Man, that was a fucking segue. Nice. Nothing says enforcer like a truly.
Yeah,
Geiger. Geiger, quick scenario for you. My kid comes back from school and says he got beat up by a bigger kid who was wearing a Kevin Durant Warriors jersey. How do I handle this?
Well, first off, I'm guessing your kid it wasn't one-on-one. He probably had about 2, 3, 4 of his friends that were just as good as him, because everyone knows that I knew the bully, and he can't do it on his own. Now, if you go back and beat him up one-on-one, then he'll use the mental approach, because I'm guessing that kid has 5 to 10 fucking burner accounts on Twitter that he can just harass your son that way. So there's really no way to win. Just basically wait it out, and the kid will probably hurt his leg and be gone for a year.
But if your kid wins, they're probably going to be best friends.
Yeah.
That's true. Well, yeah, if your kid beats his ass, he'll probably just be like, hey, man, why don't we join up forces?
Yeah, who's worse, Kevin Durant or the Fast and Furious team for letting Deckard Shaw join them? They're the same thing, really, right?
It's the exact same thing.
It's literally the same thing.
I have zero fucking respect for both of them. Actually, in a crazy way, I may have more respect for Jason Statham. I mean, it's not his fault they let him join.
Actually, the Fast 7, and this should be this is loosely a true story on Kevin Durant's decision in the summer of whatever that was, 2016.
Based on true events?
Yeah, it should show Dom watching Stephen A. Smith, and he's like, yeah, I kind of see Durant's point.
Some of the names and site locations were changed to protect people's identities, but it's basically Kevin Durant.
All right, well, if you have not listened to our show before, or I guess even if you have, you know that we start every episode off with the most important thing in any bro's life, and that is chest day. And as you can probably tell from the title episode, as always, we're a little bit heated today. So it was announced yesterday that, as we're recording this, that Sony and Disney are getting a divorce, and it looks like Sony gets to keep the kids, also known as the Spider-Man franchise. So this is according to The Hollywood Reporter.
Damn it.
What is going on?
I don't know. I honestly can't say. Just keep going on.
Trying to, but it sounds like a robot's getting beat the shit up.
No,
all right, according
to the robot.
According to the Hollywood Reporter, Marvel Studios president Kevin Feige won't produce any further Spider-Man films because of an inability by Disney and Sony Pictures to reach new terms that would have given the former a co-financing stake going forward on the web slinger. A dispute has taken place over the past few months at the top of Disney and Sony, has essentially nixed Feige and, more importantly, the future involvement of Marvel and the MCU from the Spider-Man universe. Now, this comes after Spider-Man Far From Home surpassed James Bond Skyfall as the all-time highest-grossing film for Sony Pictures, so clearly Feige and the MCU know what the fuck they're doing. Sources still say that there are 2 more Spider-Man films in the works that are meant to have director John Watts returning and Tom Holland front and center, although no involvement or character crossovers or even mentions allowed from the MCU. So this news has probably been talked about on a lot of other podcasts. It's kind of rocked the world and rocked our worlds especially. So, Boehner, as of today, Disney and Sony have walked away from the negotiating table. No more Spider-Man or Tom Holland in the MCU and vice versa. What the fuck is going on? What are your thoughts?
I think at the end of the day, Marvel Studios will end up with Spider-Man. I think Sony goes, look, we've made some really poor decisions with the Spider-Man franchise, a la Spider-Man 3. As much as I love it, it was wildly unsuccessful. Amazing Spider-Man 2. And then whatever the fuck that Venom movie was. Like, hey, let's make a Spider-Man movie without Spider-Man.
Hungry.
So what
oh my
Sony
God, I
did,
forgot that scene.
Jeff was like, what the fuck's Geiger doing? He was like, oh yeah, it's from that movie. Okay.
But I think Sony goes, look, we need to do something and we need to come out of this ahead, right? So they say, hey, MCU, Marvel, Disney, you guys have a lot of money. We'll let you guys borrow Spider-Man for like 3 or 4 movies, right? So that's what they did. They let him borrow him for a little while. Hey, it's awesome. You guys made us a shit ton of money. We're going to take him back. Now you guys are invested. You guys have to have him. Give us everything. And I think Marvel, they're walking away from the negotiations right now. But I think ultimately they're going to come back and say, here's $1 billion. And I don't think $1 billion is off the table.
So, Banner, let me ask you this. The report was that Sony walked away from the negotiating table when Marvel asked for a 50-50 split of the profits of all Sony. They would be co-financed, but of all the Spider-Man films. Do you think that's too greedy?
No, I don't think so. Because, well, of all the ones moving forward and all the ones with Tom Holland, or does that include Amazing
No.
Spider-Man and all that
All
shit?
the ones going forward. They would be co-financed.
No, I don't think that's asking too much at all because they're actually good at what they're doing.
The other thing is the MCU movies that would feature Tom Holland. I don't know what the revenue share deal is for Sony, but I'm guessing they're getting fucked in those. Like, they're not getting like 20% of Endgame just because Tom Holland is in it, you know?
No. I would assume that like Homecoming and Far Far From Home, they got a decent chunk.
I think you added a far into that.
Far Far From Home? Is that not what it is?
It's far from home, but he's not at home is the point.
Oh, I'm a little high. Sorry.
All right, Geiger, we'll toss it. Sorry, Banner. You have anything to say?
No, I literally just need to get the show over with at this point.
Well, we have like 40 minutes left, so I'm sorry to hear that. Geiger, 50-50 split from Disney. Number one, is that greedy? Should we blame them? And number two, what are your thoughts? Like, what the fuck does this mean going forward? Do we care about Spider-Man movies for the next 5 years?
I'm going to try to make it seem like I know what the fuck I'm talking about because I think it's extremely greedy because I believe they're using all of Sony's resources to make these movies. It's done in their studios and everything, which so
previously,
Sony's basically
this would be co-financed, but dude, the budget doesn't fucking matter. Like
if it's co-financed, then I can 50-50. I don't know if that's too greedy. I don't know the ins and the outs and who's actually like paying for actor salary and everything, but if it's all split down the middle, then yeah, it should basically be 50-50. My thing is I feel really bad for Tom Holland. Tom Holland is a fantastic Spider-Man. This is going to dip in his career. Imagine if after 2 Thor movies they just said, hey, Hemsworth, you're out. He would not even be close to a fucking A-lister in Hollywood. Because the first Thor movie was okay, the second one was terrible, and he wouldn't have got to do Ragnarok or any of the Avengers movies. My other point is, and Jeff's probably going to hate me on this, is this so bad? Because let's be honest, Sony didn't make bad movies. They made 2 horrible movies, but Spider-Man 1, fan-fucking-tastic. Spider-Man 2, you could argue a top 3 comic book movie of all time, and The Amazing Spider-Man is a fantastic movie too. So I wouldn't mind to actually see Spider-Man back just being Spider-Man and not having everything connected to Tony Stark in some way, even though Marvel did it in a very creative, very cool way. After a while, I want to see Spider-Man front and center, not having him play Robin to like Tony Stark or Captain America's Batman. Now, with the other thing being said, we've already seen the spider bite 8 fucking times. We've seen Uncle Ben die 20 times. So the only thing left for Spider-Man is to him to interact with Captain America, Iron Man, Wolverine now that they have him, maybe Doctor Doom. But as I told Jeff off pod, and a bunch of movies do this, they just say the original Spider-Man, Spider-Man 2 are canon. Spider-Man 3 did not happen. We're doing Spider-Man 4. We're bringing back Tobey Maguire, and we're going to bring in a young Miles Morales. I would be fucking game for that, and I think that'd be fucking perfect if they took it back in the range that way.
Yeah, and this is what I said to you off pod. Why can't Sony do, like, they should work out a deal where Sony can do the movie you just said, and also let Marvel keep Tom Holland and Spider-Man in the MCU. Like, that to me seems like a win-win, right?
That's difficult to say. If you're asking Warner Brothers, like, yeah, let's just have 8 Batman movies and have them all take place in a different universe, people will still pay for them. I think we're getting to the point, and the studios, I mean, a lot of these people are very, very smart. We give them a lot of shit that they're kind of sensing superhero fatigue. You got 3 bros talking to you right now that love superhero movies, and I'm getting kind of sick of going to them, especially if some of them fucking suck, and they're just basically, no offense, Banner, the X-Men movies are basically just insulting my intelligence, just trying to grab my money. Now, if it is leading to something like Endgame, or if, the new Joker movie is going to start a totally different universe for DC, I'm game to go see that, or if it's a good movie. Now, with 2 Spider-Man, if 2 Spider-Mans are out there in 2 totally different franchises and are 2 totally different studios, you better make damn sure they're good fucking movies, because you're going to pick.
All right, so I'm going to tell you why I hate this, and then I'm going to tell you, sort of like Geiger did, the one scenario that, all right, I would kind of be intrigued. So, Geiger, kind of the opposite of what you said. I have seen 5 Spider-Man movies of just him on his own. Excuse me. All the Raimis, Amazing Spider-Man 1 and 2. To me, especially now that the Disney Fox acquisition is final, the interesting iteration of this character and the way to take him is put him in the rest of the MCU, let him interact with characters and be part of a bigger universe that we haven't seen. I want to see him with Kingpin. I want to see him with all the X-Men. The event, that shit was so fucking cool. And
Fantastic
I'm at least very...
Four.
Right, and I'm at least very glad as a fan that we got to see him in Infinity War and Endgame interact with all those characters. Now, having said that, of course, I'm very disappointed at this news because I love Tom Holland and I know he's still going to play the character, but I don't know how you make a sequel or a continuing iteration of his story and his character's through line where you basically have to exclude everything from the MCU from it. Like, they can't even reference stuff that happened to him. And the way the storyline was going, it was like he very much needs to be a part of this bigger universe. Like, spoilers for Spider-Man Far From Home, but really quick, so skip forward just 30 seconds. He's been exposed as Peter Parker, so imagine that ramifications of that in the MCU versus now he's just in a confined universe. Now, the thing that I'm kind of excited about, and Twitter got me like, all right, fuck, that would be cool to see. What if they do a live-action version of Spider-Verse, and it has Tobey Maguire, and it has Andrew Garfield, and it has Tom Holland, and it has a young Miles Morales playing.
I saw that on Reddit too. Somebody on Reddit. Yeah.
Fuck.
Somebody on Reddit made a poster of it and like put them all together, and it was really fucking cool.
Like, Geiger knows this. If you call Tobey Maguire, if we called Tobey Maguire right now and said we give him $20 to come over and hang out, he'd be at our house in 15 minutes.
He's actually waiting for us to get done with the pod. Me and him are going to play Uno here in a second.
I know,
he has nothing else to do.
Can you tell him to stop texting me? Like, I'm trying to do this. It's a little distracting.
Yeah,
so Tobey Maguire would be game. Like, I can't imagine. I mean, in fact, he'd probably be lowballed in salary, I would have to imagine, too. Garfield's the one I could see having some trouble getting to come back, but money talks. And Holland has no choice. He's under contract for 2 more movies. So, Spider-Verse.
If you get Nicolas Cage to play the other one just like he did in the cartoon,
Spider-Man,
that would be awesome.
Haley Steinfeld to play Spider-Gwen, just like in the movie.
Which that would be an interesting dynamic, too, if you did that, because in Andrew Garfield's Amazing Spider-Man, obviously Gwen Stacy dies. So then you have Spider-Gwen come in, and that could drum up some interesting
I'll just
dialogue.
Say one last thing. Jeff, I read a lot of comments on this today. The only thing I've seen that people had a problem with about the MCU Spider-Man is that it wasn't just a Spider-Man movie. It was connected to something else. Now, I truly believe that Marvel would have done just a basic Spider-Man just from year one movie, but we've seen it so many fucking times that they're like, all right, this is beating a dead horse. Let's just bring him in and just throw. I believe that him in Civil War was the greatest Spider-Man story I've ever fucking seen. Him in Civil War was so great. I remember watching that trailer. I was like, dude, they're bringing in Spider-Man. This is the perfect time to bring him in. It's a kid from Brooklyn, and then Tony Stark takes him under his wing. I thought it was perfect how they brought him in. Everything they've done with Spider-Man, I think has been great. Now, could you have said, man, I wish this movie was more just Spider-Man? Yeah, absolutely. But you can say that about any movie. That you could be like, man, I wish it would have stayed true to this comic or something like that. What the MCU's done with him since they brought him in has been fucking perfect every step of the way. Perfect casting, perfect everything.
And I think if you're Feige, clearly he must have known behind the scenes, like, all right, this Sony deal is like gonna break down at some point. So I want to make him feel as much a part of our universe as we can while we have him.
Yeah.
It's a bit like you have the girlfriend who you know is going to dump you. You're like, we should have sex all the time just because you're probably going to break up with me in 2 weeks. And I just want to get the most out of this. And then she says no and goes and fucks your best friend Trevor. And just doesn't make any goddamn sense.
Okay, let's go.
Yeah, it's getting a little too real. Are we actually, honestly though, are we shocked that Sony pulled this and Sony isn't willing to play ball or even to me sound reasonable about this stuff?
So do you think, again, this has been widely reported as like this is done, Sony's moving forward with 2 movies, but this could just be a negotiating tactic, right? Like
100%.
Oh yeah.
But also
100%.
it's kind of blown up in Sony's face if that's the case, because I'm sure we're uneducated, as Geiger said, like we don't know the ins and outs of what the deal is. But to me, not everything, but the majority of backlash I've seen online, people are like, fuck Sony, and like no one is mad at Disney, even though
Which honestly, come on, Disney probably went to the table like, here's our dick, sign this. I guarantee you everyone working at Disney is a huge douche. But they make better movies, so whose corner are we going to be in, man? Seriously, because $20 is $20 when you're going and taking your girl to the theater, and $20 better get me a good fucking movie. And Disney has a better track record of that.
Does Disney want Spider-Man and Tom Holland in the MCU? Abso-fucking-lutely, dude. But I don't.
They survive without him, of course.
Sure, and I don't think Sony has the leverage they think they do because of the Fox acquisition. Like, they now have Wolverine and the X-Men and the Fantastic Four, and Mahershala Ali is playing Blade, and Disney Plus is coming out. So, dude, it could be like they can slow play Sony. Basically, like if a new Spider-Man movie was going to come out, Disney's probably going to fucking dare Sony to try and make it with Tom Holland and have it not be in the MCU.
Yeah.
Here's the thing: what Disney can do if they really want to big dick them, when this new Spider-Man movie comes out, go, hey, we're gonna throw insert superhero movie here, same weekend or like weekend after, and just kill their box office.
The Civil War BVS debate, right? Where they both picked the same weekend and just fucking dared the other one to move first.
Game of chicken.
Yeah.
That was so immature. I remember when I was like, why are you guys...
So BVS
like, we
is
both
just
know...
like, oh yeah, we'll just come out, 4 months earlier.
BVS, like, we were here first. And then Civil War's like, we honestly didn't even know you were a movie. So then, like, honestly, fuck you. You knew we were a movie. Don't be an asshole. All right, before we move on, I guess here's the thing. Let's go around real quick. What is the scenario that would be realistically the best case for how this ends for you personally as a fan, Banner? What do you think is most realistic? So don't say like
what
Tom
I want
Holland
to
comes
happen
over
or what
and
was realistic.
Because
what I want to happen is I want
Tell me.
Disney and Marvel to take it back over and then them to make a Miles Morales live action movie. They've already planted it in Homecoming.
Yeah.
So that would be really cool. Realistically, I think they come back to the table and instead of a 50-50 split, they come up with like a 40-60, maybe a 35-65 split. I think Sony realizes that they need more of the pot because they aren't going to be able to make that. Let's be honest. Even at a 50-50 split or if they got 60% or whatever, they're going to make more money with Marvel than they will on their own, right?
Yeah.
Is that a crazy
Far From Home
statement to
became
think?
their highest grossing movie of all time, and to Geiger's point, that came out after Endgame, so it's probably a large part because of the fucking momentum. After Endgame, people want to see what the fuck happened, you know?
Yeah. How are they dealing with the snap and all those other things?
Imagine if Far From Home, sorry to cut you off, Banner. If Far From Home came out and there could be no references to Endgame, Thanos, Tony Stark, would you give a shit about that movie?
You don't even have a movie at that point.
Right. Sorry. Yeah.
No, you're not. I mean, realistically, I think Sony has to come and come up with something. But I also think that Marvel can't just be like, no, it's this or nothing. And I think Marvel and Disney probably did that, gave them an ultimatum. This is what we're going to do or nothing else, and they're not willing to budge. I think they need to budge on something.
Yeah, I agree. So, Geyer, we know Disney is too proud to do this, or arrogant, or fucking douchey. Do you think Sony will come back hat in hand and be like, all right, this deal does work?
No,
or some
Sony's going to keep it. Sony's going to keep it. I guarantee you Sony's going to keep it because actually, if you think about it, they have more momentum than Marvel Studios right now because Marvel Studios just ended everything with Endgame, and now they're going to redo it. I mean, they have – I don't care what you think about Venom, but you have Woody Harrelson coming at the end with Carnage. You could have a new Spider-Man come right into that fucking universe, and that's something that's just starting. I personally hated Venom. I thought it was a catastrophe and totally shitted on the original comic book character. But if you liked it, more power to you. Anyway, their movie is going forward. Endgame ended everything, and now you're finding the characters that are still alive or still under contract to get basically a new Avengers team. And basically you had Spider-Man and Black Panther, and now it looks like you just have Black Panther going forward as big-time players.
I don't know if this moves the needle for any of us, but Andy Serkis was just announced as the director for Venom 2. So that could be interesting. Kind of like him on the pod. Ulysses Claw. I think for me, most realistic scenario, I think Geiger's right. Sony keeps it, and I think a Spider-Verse movie or a Tobey Maguire as older Peter Parker with Miles Morales would be kind of cool. And I think more realistic. I don't know. If they do Tom Holland, I don't trust them anymore. They've broken my heart too many times, like my ex-wife Rachel.
It would not make any fucking sense if they casted Tom Holland.
Yeah. It'd just be too weird, like, avoiding mentioning all the... Like, he fucking disintegrated and went into space, and we're just going to not mention that anymore?
That would
Tony Stark literally died in his hands.
Right.
It'd be like we were saying, 3 years ago when we started this pod? It's like, what if they just casted Christian Bale to be Batman? I mean, it's a totally different Batman. It was like, that would make no fucking sense. Because, like, so do these connect? No. He's just a good Batman, so we casted him again. It'd make no fucking sense at all.
I don't know. We're sad, guys, at home. Let us know your thoughts. Tweet at us at Bro4Squad. All right, we now move on to the second part of our show, which is our protein shake, where we go around and talk about what's in our cup, also known as what have we watched lately. I only have two things. Geiger wants to go last, so Banner, would you mind leading us off? You got 3?
Of course. I got 3.5.
All right. Kind of like where I just saw the last 10 minutes of Pretty Woman, but still kind of
no, mine was a commentary that I just felt like I had to speak on because, shameless plug.
Sure.
Obviously, we watched Endgame. Is that published?
Not yet.
It will be very, very soon. Next day.
So very quickly, it's, we're just chopping it up. It's on the cutting room floor right now, but we watched Endgame.
It took 9 hours to render on my computer. So.
Yeah. We did a commentary in Endgame. Obviously, just culminating the MCU. It was a lot of fun. So look out for that coming out in the next week or so. I watched Kong Skull Island again because we watched Endgame and I saw Brie Larson and I don't like her and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna give her another shot. Kong Skull Island came on and still don't like her.
Really?
Yeah, and again, she's still hot, but I don't like her.
Huh.
She
is really hot in that movie, though.
She's really hot in that movie.
Do you like Hiddleston in that movie?
Yeah, he's all right. He's fine.
Geiger, I think you just shared your screen.
Geiger, I can see myself on your screen.
Oh, sorry.
You can also close the porn, too.
No, I don't do porn.
Huh? Well, we're looking at it.
Yeah, I can see it. Oh, that's just me. Sorry.
Never mind. That's my screen too.
Yeah. Kong Skull, I like it, and Hiddleston's great. I mean, he's fine in it. I don't know that I think he's capable of doing things that are much, much better.
Kind of mails it.
He kind of mails it in a little bit.
Sorry, Geiger.
Yeah.
Catastrophe.
This is.
For those of you at home, Matt has gone to screen share mode on Skype, and I don't know what he's trying to do.
Where do you not
I think
share?
it's those two squares that are connected right next to the heart.
It's so distracting.
Here?
No. Other side of this.
No, other side.
Oh.
They're white. Go. There you go.
Oh my god.
Oh Jesus.
Free from the nightmare. Banner, I'm sorry, that was so distracting.
Yeah, I was trying to keep it together. Yeah, I wouldn't say he mails it in, but I also think that there were a couple days he came in to work hungover and
I was just about to say that.
yeah, like he was like, it's fine, like 80%.
He seems to me like a guy. I can't drink 8 whiskey sour. Because Hiddleston seems to me like a guy that really, really takes his work seriously. But that seemed like the one movie where he was like, it's fucking Kongs. Like, no one's here to see me anyway. I'm just to put my name on the poster. Yeah. You want to see fucking gorilla.
To me, it seemed like he was going for a paycheck and was like, I'm just gonna mail this in. But then when he got there, he's too good of an actor and too, I don't want to say prideful, but he takes pride in his work to just mail it in 100%.
Watch that movie and pretend that John C. Reilly is still playing Dale Dobeck, and it's really, really funny.
It's so funny if you do that. All right. Continuing on my family movie night that we do every Sunday night, we watched Descendants 3 this week. We finished out the trilogy. I'm not going to lie to you guys. Third one is by far the worst.
Wow, by far.
Yeah, like it was a drastic drop-off. Personally, I think I like the first one the best. Second one is very close. If you get me drunk enough, I can convince you that I like the second one better. And then the third one's just not as good.
What was wrong with the third one? Did we lose cast members?
We didn't lose cast members. There was just a lot going on, and like the music, I didn't like the music as much. Dancing was still fine. I think a lot of it too is one of the main characters passed away like 2 months, if that, before. I don't even know if it was that much. It may have just been like a month before Descendants 3 dropped. The guy that plays Cruella de Vil's son.
Did he finish filming? You know,
he finished filming. Yeah, I mean it was done. It was everything. It was dropping like I think it dropped like August 12th, and he died in July.
Yeah, I remember that. That was really sad.
Yeah, and I mean it wasn't. He had battled with seizures his whole life, and he unfortunately just had one, from what I understand, had one in his sleep and passed away, which is really sad. He got drastically better in his dancing skills. I noticed that. I think just because I was paying attention to him more, but dancing wasn't as great overall. I didn't like the songs as much. The story, it was like, hey, these first two are wildly successful, so we're just gonna throw another one, shove it down your throat. Trying to follow the High School Musical model.
It's tough with musicals if you're trying to pump out sequels, because if the actual songs are dog shit, then like get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, you can have a totally horrible story, but your songs.
But if you got bangers,
good. Yeah. Did you guys see this? Rocko's Modern Life had a movie on Netflix.
No.
What?
Yeah, it's like a 45-minute Rocko's Modern Life.
What year is it from?
It was just made. It's brand new.
It's animated?
Animated. Rocko's Modern Life, Static Cling. So basically, I don't remember this.
Static what? You kind of cut out.
Cling.
Isn't toenails currency to them, right?
Isn't
that Rocko's Modern Life?
I think so.
Yeah, I think so.
Does it have the intro song? Rocko's Modern Life.
Rocko's Modern Life. Yeah. So the premise is that they rocketed themselves off into outer space in the 90s, and every time they can't find the button to bring them back to Earth, and they've been basically orbiting Earth for 20 years, and then finally they find the remote at the very beginning of the movie, and they come back. They come back to like 2019, and they're 90s people stuck in 2019 trying to live, and it's
fucking cool.
It's fucking ridiculous. It's awesome. It's like 49 minutes. You guys should check it out. It's really it just takes you back.
Banner, why didn't you text me that this was on Netflix?
I just assumed they were shoving it down your guys' throats too.
Right now.
It's only 49 minutes, and it's about 90s cartoon characters living in modern day. Like, are you fucking? And it's Rocko's Modern Life.
Yeah.
God damn it.
It's great.
I think I've actually seen some of that on Twitter or something, actually. Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know it was I just thought it was some stupid thing, but it was actually from a show. That's awesome.
Yeah, it's on Netflix. It's called Rocko's Modern Life Static Cling.
So I'm sure there's hardcore Rocko's Modern Life canon fans out there Does anyone here know how the original series ends? Do they get launched into space at the end of that, or does this start?
I really get it confused with Ren and Stimpy a lot. I liked them both, but I haven't watched them since I was like 8 years old.
8 years old, yeah.
Yeah, so because I know the animation styles were really similar. Banner, was it like shitty 2D animation, or did they like kind of? Because I kind of want it to be shitty. Keep it true to the era.
It was a little bit better than I remember the 90s, but like it wasn't definitely not like Tarzan even, or like the way Frozen was done, or any of the movies nowadays.
It's not like Frozen, probably.
Yeah, like it's actually looks.
That's
like
how I like my Rocko's Modern Life, not like Frozen. So I prefer. So it looked like a guy flipping his like Post-it.
Yes, it did.
It's in front of you.
Yeah, and it seems like, I mean, I don't know who actually voiced them, but they sound exactly how I remember them sounding too, which is cool.
Well, similar to the Tobey Maguire debate, I guarantee if the two dudes are alive, there would be no fucking problem getting them to come.
You would think. You would think. I'm also like 2.5 episodes into a show called In the Dark. Have you guys seen this?
No, heard of this? Is this on Netflix?
It is on Netflix. It's actually a CW show, but you guys know how CW like finishes the season and then drops the entire show immediately on Netflix.
Yeah.
Basically, it's about a girl who is blind, and her best friend is not like, he's not blind. He's like a drug dealer, and he gets murdered, and she's trying to solve his murder, but she's blind. It sounds really funny, but it's actually a pretty serious show, and it's really good so far.
It tells you how fucked up we are as people that you just told us a blind girl's best friend gets murdered, and you have to clarify with us, I know it sounds funny. Like that doesn't sound... The average person's like, how the fuck is that funny, you sick assholes?
I just assume everybody that listens to us would find that, like, at least giggle. Like, okay, that premise sounds ridiculous.
What would you say the genre of this show is? Like, is it like a thriller? Is it like
it's like a dramedy.
So there's a comedy element, and it's based off.
Oh yeah. Well, okay, so the blind chick is a drunk.
Oh, that's kind of cool.
And she's addicted to sex.
What?
Yeah.
Is she hot?
Yeah.
What's it on?
It's on Netflix. You can find it on Netflix.
All right, let's pause the pod for about 7 days.
Okay. Won't take you that long.
In the Dark?
In the Dark.
How many seasons are we working with?
Just one, but it's been renewed for a second season.
Now, I will ask you this. Similar to the show You on Netflix, which I believe is a Lifetime show that did the same model, where like it was released and then all of it dropped. I was pleased with that because season 1 ended with a conclusion, but then also kind of like a cool extra cliffhanger that doesn't really fuck with the ending of it. Yeah. How does this season 1 end without any spoilers?
Surprisingly, I'm not done with the season yet.
But you've had like 4 hours to watch it.
I know. I'm slacking.
And you only work 60 hours a week and have a wife and kid, so I don't really get what I'm spending time on.
I'll try and finish it up and report back next week.
I would say that's the most disappointed I've been with you on this show, but you also didn't text me that there was a fucking Rocko's Modern Life movie on Netflix. So, whatever, bro. All right. Anything else?
Nope, that's it.
I think this is actually maybe the first time that is a show that isn't like airing live that you've mentioned it on pod and you haven't finished at least a full season of it. Like if it's not something that like new episodes are coming out each week.
Yeah, you might be right. You might be right. It's like this solar eclipse. It only happens every once in a while.
Yeah. All right, I'll go and leave Geiger for the grand finale. So I watched 2. Sometimes I have protein shakes and I'm like, how the fuck did you end up with these 2 movies? Like what is your thought process, Jeff? You need mental help. Like these movies are just so fucking obscure. So I watched a movie that came out at the very beginning of the year in February, which, as we know, is kind of a dumping ground for movies. And it was called Escape Room. Have you guys heard of this?
It sounds super familiar.
So the concept of it is, it's kind of based on like the premise of Saw, but it's basically six strangers get invited to this like exclusive escape room, and they go into it and realize that they've been chosen for a certain reason, and it's not like a normal escape room, like they could actually die in it, and of course some of them start dying in it. And Deborah Ann Wool, who plays Karen Page in the Daredevil series and the Punisher series, is in it, but she's actually not the star. And I texted Cycly about this because the concept is cool from the standpoint of I think most of us have been in an escape room, and like so basically they say if you guys get out in under 40 minutes, you all win $1,000, and I would definitely fucking go to that.
For
Like,
sure.
And so that part's kind of realistic. And then they show up and it's like each progressive scene and act gets a little more unrealistic. But then the third act, there's a pretty cool twist that I think actually ties a really nice bow on the movie. And then obviously won't spoil anything because I think it's worth a poke, which is what I say now. If I think you should watch something, give it a poke. But then the last minute and a half, they make an attempt to open it up for a sequel, and they totally fuck up like everything that they've done the first hour and 30 minutes. But it's interesting.
Although is it bad enough to where it will get a sequel?
I don't think it'll get a sequel. I don't think it did that good at the box office. And the setup for the sequel is like pretty fucking stupid. I'm very disinterested in that movie. The one problem I do have with it, and this is an issue that the Saw movie, I love the Saw movies. Check out our commentary. What have we done? The first two? Yeah, we haven't done the third one.
2 or 3, something like that.
But Saw 1 and 2. But the Saw movies run into the trap of like when you show up and like all the characters are in the trap, they're all just like stereotypes, right? There's like the slut, the asshole,
the drunk.
The drunk. There's the corporate guy that like only cares about his job. There's the kid who's a fucking burnout trying to get his life together. And then there's the innocent girl or guy who's like, oh, shucksy doodles, how'd I end up here? That's literally all 5 people in Escape Room. And I think there's...
Shucksly doodles.
Well, gall darn gee willikers. I sure hope that we get out of here alive. And that's the person you follow the whole time.
So they're Canadian?
Is that Canadian? I don't know what the fuck that is. It's just a little too stereotypical. But Escape Room, I don't know. I don't know if it's worth a poke, but I thought it was kind of interesting. And then the second movie that I watched, which is like a cult classic, it's a movie called Sunshine. Are you guys familiar with this?
No.
All right, so Sunshine is a 2007 movie. It's kind of like a sci-fi film, but it's more like a drama/thriller. This movie has like a massive cult following. So the premise of it is a team of astronauts, basically the sun that Earth has, it's the year 2057, I think. Our sun is burning out, and we sent a mission called the Icarus up to reignite it about 7 years ago, and they disappeared. They haven't been heard from. So the Icarus 2 goes up as kind of like a last chance to reignite the sun. Otherwise, Earth will basically end up in a endless ice age. And the astronaut crew is pretty star-studded for in the film. Has Rose Byrne, Chris Evans, Benedict Wong, Cillian Murphy is in it. Mark Strong is in it. So it's a pretty good fucking cast. And I think more importantly than that are the talent behind this thing. So it is directed by Danny Boyle, who did Annihilation, Yesterday, which obviously just came out. Geiger and I liked it. Slumdog Millionaire, 127 Hours, Trainspotting, and 28 Days Later. And then you guys will probably like this, but it was written by a guy named Alex Garland, who did The Beach. He wrote 28 Days Later, he wrote Annihilation, and he wrote Ex Machina, which I thought was pretty good. And this is a movie where it's like, it's pretty interesting, crazy shit happens, and then there's a pretty big twist with 20 minutes left in the film, and it becomes a totally different type of movie.
How did you watch this?
How did I watch it?
Well, yeah, where can we find this?
That means you watched it illegally.
I don't know.
Asked that question.
I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. I did not just illegally watch it 10 minutes before the podcast.
It's such a stall question. Like, I hope someone else says something so I don't have to answer this.
Yeah, what do you mean? What's he saying, Wedding Craig? What do you mean? What do you mean how? It's
I don't know, man. At Ice Age right now, it's August in Texas. That sounds kind of cool with no sun. Just for
I was gonna say here in Oklahoma.
Fuck.
Here in Oklahoma, it was 104 degrees today with 115 degree heat index with like 95% humidity. It was awful.
Well, watch it. Maybe it'll cool you down.
Maybe. Do they just take like a giant lighter up to the sun and like try and?
Yeah, so they go up there with a big tub of lighter fluid, and like your uncle
like
at a
a
barbecue. They just want. Yeah. No, it's a fission bomb that they're gonna shoot into the sun. But what happened to the Icarus 1 when you find out is really interesting, and I kind of want Geiger to see it especially because I definitely think this is something he and I could have an interesting conversation about. I could definitely see what happens to the Icarus 1 happening to a lot of astronauts, and I'm surprised it doesn't happen more often. It's a short movie, too. It's like an hour 35 minutes. And Cillian Murphy gives a great performance. It's just the last 10 minutes it gets... I don't know. It's a little interesting. All right, that's it for my protein shake. Geiger, take it away.
Well, first off, I'd like to apologize to all of our fans, everyone that subscribed to us, everyone that loves us, because they're all very disappointed right now. But don't worry, Papa Geiger's got you. And Jeff and Brian, you're my boys. I'm so fucking disappointed in both of you. Brian, especially you. You work 70 hours a week. You have a wife and a small child. You have time to watch this. Do you guys have any clue what I'm about to fucking lay on you?
Is it new?
Yes, it came out this week. I talked about it to you guys like 2 weeks ago.
Good Boys?
It's called I Am Patrick Swayze, and it debuted on Paramount Network, and none of you fuckers watched it. He is the god of our podcast. He's who we pray to every night. And you wouldn't even watch probably the greatest documentary I've ever seen. No shit.
So
it's fucking very well done.
No excuse. I deserve to be berated for this. But again, please text me and remind me of these things.
Yeah.
I have time to watch it. I DVR'd it like 2 weeks out. My DVR popped up.
Hold on. Was it on our calendar? If it was on the Bro Force Squad calendar, I would have knocked it out. But it wasn't on the calendar.
Are you gonna put it on your calendar to thank God every day? Because that's what you're basically saying. That you need it on
I have a reminder.
I think of Swayze's hair every 5 minutes. I think of Swayze's hair more than I think of boobs. So I didn't have to put it on a calendar banner. But it is very well done. You guys should watch it. I'm sure a lot of our fans that have watched Roadhouse or Dirty Dancing movie commentary, check those out. They're some of our best. Sam Elliott's in it. Damien Moore's in it.
Sam Elliott's in this?
Fuck yeah, man. He talks about him the whole time. I will have to get you guys ready, though. It starts out very well, but at the end, it is sad as shit. Because he was... Okay, this dude, if you already didn't think he could fuck your wife or girlfriend, he would go up to a chick and like, do you want to ride horses? Because I live on a ranch and have horses. I can also surf. I can also... ballet dance. He was a ballet dancer in New York before he turned into an actor. I have an 8-pack, and I could do kickboxing and karate. I mean...
And 2.5% body fat.
Yeah, and look at my hair. He basically was the guy that could just fucking do everything. And he had a #1 song, because he wrote that song, I Am Like the Wind or whatever, for Dirty Dancing. He was the first guy to have a #1 song and #1 movie in the box office. And top hits. Very interesting, though. His wife's still alive. He married his high school sweetheart. He's from Texas, from Houston. Married his high school sweetheart from Houston. She's still alive. Talks a lot about him. He also had
any kids?
Alcohol, which we love. We drink all the time.
That makes him so much cooler that he married his high school sweetheart and like was with her through all of that.
What also is cool, man, is like, so he got a ranch in California with a bunch of horses, but he got it so inland that he's like, yeah, man, I hate Hollywood. This is where I come to escape. I just want to be myself, ride horses, and be with my wife. I'm like, dude, that's fucking legit, dude.
You want to know how to own Hollywood? Hate Hollywood.
Yeah, not be around it at all.
That's why he's the god.
Rob Lowe's in it. C. Thomas Howell's in it because they're in The Outsiders together. Of course, Jennifer Grey's in it. She's aged great. She is hot. But guess who didn't age too great?
Good for Clark Gregg.
Guess who hasn't aged too great? Tyler from Point Break. Unless...
Yeah. Which one's he?
Exactly.
Is that one of the bros that like live in that house with him?
Isn't Tyler the chick?
Okay, if you had Megan Rapinoe on Madden and you could add attributes to her, add 30 pounds and 20 years of age, and that's what the Tyler chick looks like from Free Willy and Point Break.
I was gonna say I'm gonna look her up on the internet, and I'm typing in Free Willy.
But it's a very good documentary. Actually, a fun fact: the highest viewed I Am documentary yet, and lest we forget, I Am Heath Ledger and I Am Chris Farley was out.
And Paul Walker, right?
And Paul Walker beat all of those on opening weekend.
Yeah, I'm looking up Lori Petty, who played Tyler.
I'm looking at both of you, and I'm looking at Cycly too, who's rowing or crocheting or knitting and whatever the hell he does on Wednesdays. You all should have watched it. Shame. I should have you go down the streets naked. Banner, you know, Jeff doesn't know what the fuck I'm talking about because he's never seen Game of Thrones, but I should have you walk down the streets naked. Shame.
I do that anyway, though. Like, it's cool.
Well, at least I know I'm getting into heaven. And Swayze's going to be waiting for me on a stallion with his shirt off and be like, what's up, bro?
When you're in heaven and we're in hell, do you think we could still Skype each other to do the podcast?
Yeah, it'd be kind of cool.
That would be sick. Then Swayze, maybe you get him to come on. That'd be like the ultimate get.
Dude, Demi Moore looks great too. Still.
She still looks really
well,
good.
Yeah, of course she looks good.
What did they do together? Why am I blanking on whatever movie they did together? She's in Ghost?
Yeah, you wouldn't know because she has my haircut. Literally,
she loved short hair because then she did G.I. Jane.
Yeah, I think it was probably right after G.I. Jane, so she didn't have time to grow out her hair. She has her hair long now, though.
Good for her, man.
If you check out our Point Break movie commentary, you know that's Geiger's only rule. I will not have sex with a girl with hair shorter than mine. That's the only rule I have in this world.
So I actually didn't realize that all this documentary, I guess you could call it a series, but I didn't realize they were all just called I Am and then the person's name. Because I knew Paramount actually did have a lot of fucking cool documentaries.
That's like their 30 for 30 right now. And they're doing a very good job of it. I've enjoyed every single one I've seen. A lot of, like, Heath Ledger's and Chris Farley's especially, but a lot of old school scenes that I'm like, so did they just always have a video recorder? Like, how did they get all these?
I know, it's nuts how they find this footage.
Yeah.
It's like absolutely insane. I forgot what I was gonna say. That's great podcasting, isn't it?
It is.
Just fucking start to talk.
Maybe if you guys can find time out of your busy schedules to watch the most important person of our podcast, and maybe we can review it next week.
We just got to keep reiterating it. It's the year of the doc, right? The year of the documentary.
It is.
It's been fun.
This one will make you cry. I'm not even kidding. It'll make you cry.
Why does that make me want to watch it more? You know what would be a really nice palate cleanser for I Am Patrick Swayze? Rocko's Modern Life, Static Shock. What the fuck's it called, Banner?
Static Cling.
Of course.
So the last thing I'll say, and if you haven't checked out our Point Break movie commentary, go do it. But Patrick Swayze said of all of his characters he's ever played, the most he's felt was like himself is Bodhi. And I never really believed that until I watched this documentary. But whenever he was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer, the first thing he says, like, I want a series or I want a movie. I want to go to work. He's like, I want to die doing what I like to do. And basically he just lived out his life and just be like, whenever it takes me, but I'm going to go full force. And people were on the shows like, yeah, there's some days, man, I just didn't feel it. But I looked at a guy that was literally dying of cancer and he was giving 110%. So I was like, it's insane how he.
I just got chills by you saying that.
It's very insane how he. It makes me want to watch the show. I've never watched that show. I'm blanking on what it was fucking called. It was like The Shield, where he's a cop.
The last thing he filmed.
The Beast is what it's called. It was a show on USA where he's like a beat cop or something.
When did we lose him? It was probably like 10 years ago, right?
Probably about 8-9 years ago. Yeah.
Yeah. It was like 11 maybe, 2011, 2012.
God damn it.
But he's still he's alive and well in all of our hearts.
Man. Yeah, and Roadhouse, Point Break, Dirty Dancing, they're always on TV, man. Always. They're timeless. They're such great movies.
Yeah. And we've done commentaries on all three of them because Swayze's the GOAT.
He was in the original Red Dawn.
Yeah, we still need to do that movie.
Yeah, we need to do that movie.
Outsiders, if you've never seen that, that's one of my favorite books. If you've never seen that, basically it was Tom Cruise's first movie, Emilio Estevez's first movie. Rob Lowe was in this. It was his first movie. Matt Dillon was in it. Ralph Macchio, one of his first movies.
Jesus.
It's C. Thomas Howell, one of his first movies.
Filmed in Tulsa, right?
Yes, and whenever they talk about the Rumble where they fight the popular kids, they were like, "Man, Swayze was like, dude, I'm gonna look so fucking macho in this." And him and Tom Cruise are basically just having like a cycle off who could get like more jacked up. That's what Rob Lowe was talking about. He's like, I've never seen someone more intense than Tom Cruise, but Swayze is basically matching his intensity, which is saying something. Cruise is a fucking nutcase.
God
Very,
damn it! I want to
very
fucking
fun
watch
watch
that
though.
now.
I love hearing about the behind the scenes stories of some of the cool movies with a bunch of actors, and they were saying it's like, oh man, we did stupid shit off scene. Like we just be drinking and doing like fucking awesome shit all the time. Like that's what I want to hear. It's awesome.
I really want to watch that, but also I don't because it's gonna make me so fucking jealous that I wasn't there, and also that we've upset and sad that we've lost Swayze. But
Yeah.
I do need to see it. Damn, I am Patrick Swayze, Paramount. I don't know if I get Paramount. If not, maybe I have other means to get it. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe
I'm
you could
pretty
just
sure
go
I
download
get
it
it.
like you did
and I can-
Sunshine. I don't know.
Tiger, oh my God. I hope we have like a bunch of FBI agents that subscribe to this podcast and like, dude, we don't give a fuck.
Yeah, we don't care. We have
Just
bigger-
comment below and tell us you don't care. That would make me feel a lot better.
Yeah,
Russia's
just
fucking
comment
with our
below.
election. I really don't care if you watch Sunshine. Doesn't matter.
First things first, let's take care of Hornacek and his
Yeah.
Sunshine watching. And you know what? Fine, I'll admit it. I watched Escape Room
Pick the
by the same
low-hanging
platform,
fruit.
okay?
Yeah, pick the low-hanging fruit first.
Make an example out of me.
And maybe we'll
Really
climb up the tree.
rough me up on my way out. All right, anything else, Geiger?
No, that's all I needed to watch.
Yeah,
Ever.
that is great. I'm glad we ended with that. All right, before we end the show, Banner, you had your hand up. What did you want to ask?
I didn't have my hand up.
Yeah, you did.
No, I didn't.
Metaphorically, you had your hand up.
No, I
Oh,
didn't.
sorry, that's Black Panther on your shirt with his hand up.
Oh, yep, that is Black Panther with
So
his
now you
hand
have
up.
now you have to ask the question in your best Black Panther accent, which is gonna sound horrible. So,
Gonna sound racist.
and it'll inherently turn Jamaican.
Do you even lift bra?
That's actually pretty good.
That's pretty good.
Thank you.
Do you even lift,
Do
brah?
you even lift bra? It almost sounds a little, what's the politically correct term here? Oriental?
I like to say it like he's doing his war chant. Do you even lift, brah?
Do you even lift bra?
And that brings us to our question and answer segment. Do you even lift, brah? Where we go
I
around
don't
the
even know
internet
what
and
the
dig up
question
an awesome question. You can wing this one, trust me. Today's question comes to us from Natoda Kutsikle at Matoda Kutsikle. I'm sorry, dude. I'm definitely butchering that, but you have an awesome avatar, and this was a great fucking question, so we had to grab it. Who asks or says with a question, I think movies should have more characters mess up their line deliveries to make movies seem more realistic. Obviously, we should be able to understand what they're trying to say in the end. What do you think? Now, this is something I never fucking thought about. And you know, one show that actually did this, it's a show, not a movie, but How I Met Your Mother, one time I heard one of the Carter Bays and Craig Thomas, Cycling and I are huge How I Met Your Mother fans, but the creator said, we told the characters, laugh at each other's jokes, because when you're out at the bar with your friends, you do that. And in the show Friends, they never laugh when Chandler says something fucking hilarious, but you would do that out at a bar. So isn't it kind of weird that like movie characters, like no one ever, I mean, it happens, but like for the most part, no one misspeaks or like forgets what they're trying to say. Like, isn't that kind of weird that that's not part of common dialogue in movies?
This is a completely stoner idea.
Right?
Which we encourage. Keep them coming, please. Send us more. They're awesome. I think it's something that if someone tried to do, people would be like, "Oh, this is stupid. Just act." But if someone like Tarantino did it in a movie,
You're
they'd be
right.
like,
I
"God,
was
it's
just gonna say that.
revolutionary! My God, why hasn't anyone done this before? Just hand them the Oscar. We don't have to wait till February." But it is a fucking really cool idea just to think of. I'm thinking how he would say if the line is, "I'm going to kill you," he'd be like, I'm going to kill you, like he might stutter or something.
Yeah,
or,
but it's not like a guy with a speech impediment. It's just like a human being.
Sometimes someone like will forget their train of thought. It's not always so smooth. Like the killer, like doesn't always have the one-liners like Fast and the Furious or the Terminator or something. They might actually like trip on a word or be like, "Oh, let me say that again." I understand what it is. For action movies, I don't think it'd work. For more realistic movies, like a Tarantino movie, I think is something that'd be right up his wheelhouse kind of to do, where they would trip over their words or kind of you never see anyone like sneeze or cough in the middle
Yeah.
of talking or itch their eyes or be like, I have allergies or something like that.
When I read this, that's the first thing I thought, like, this is something Tarantino would do, but I was also like, maybe the Coen brothers, too, would do shit like this in, like, a weird, dark comedy movie. Banner, any thoughts on this? Because this is how you and I pretty much talk to each other 99% of the time.
I think it would be cool in a movie, but let me get even more stone run here. There are times when I'm like arguing with somebody where I'm like, fuck, I wish I wouldn't have stuttered on that and I would have said it like a movie does. Or like you think about it after effect, a conversation. I do it on the pod all the time. I'm like, fuck, I wish I would have said that. Like you have more time to think about it and it's more thought out. Does that ever happen to you
It's
guys?
like, yeah, well, like the classic trope of like when you like are laying in bed and you're like, fuck, I should have said this in that argument. And you want to text somebody and be like, hey, can we add this to my thoughts of the argument that we had?
Exactly. Like you're not going to get that. I don't know that in a movie, especially just with the time constraints and things like that, like you guys said, I don't know that it would come off as it should unless somebody already has a prerequisite of having really good dialogue or being revolutionary. I think if somebody just came out and fucking did this, everybody would be like, wow, that's really, really fucking stupid.
Let me ask this question. Would it be cool for a podcast to do it? Because we're going to find out, because Banner spilled his drink, did a bunch of shit at the beginning. I split the screen, and we're not editing any of this out. So if we don't get more subscribers off this, obviously we have our fucking answer to that. Maybe we should fucking clean it up a little bit. If not, when you tune in the Broforce Squad, you're getting raw, real shit. Because there is times, Banner, I will listen to our movie commentary. I'm like, God, I should have said this. That would have been funny. But I've been like, but who cares? It's in the moment. We're drinking in the moment. Whatever comes to our fucking heads is what we say during movie commentaries and during this. And if you spill your drink or you split the screen and you act like a 50-year-old mom that doesn't know how to run a computer for 5 minutes like I did, that's just what it do, man. That's just what it fucking do.
God, this is a great fucking episode. And that just brings it full circle.
Is it though?
That's a great way to end it.
Wreck.
But that's what we do, bro.
It's raw.
If you look up Broforce Squad in the dictionary, it says fucking train wreck.
Yeah, and then it also says
That's
and then it also says this is definitely not a dictionary because why the fuck would that be in here? But that's what people do, man. You see a car accident on the side of the road, you turn your head to look at it every goddamn time. Like the guy in front of Geiger on the road today that wouldn't move for a fucking ambulance because he's probably looking at some shit on the side of the road.
Guys, always move for your ambulances and your emergency vehicles.
Yeah,
what
man.
if they're going
That might
for
be
like
you
your
one
loved
day
one?
that needs an ambulance.
Exactly.
Fuck out of the way.
That's
That's-
great parting words.
I just found it. That's why spade and neuter your dogs. Move aside for emergency vehicles.
Please say that after every pod.
Yeah, that's your new thing, but it's also really fucking sad that we have to like remind people to do that. Like, okay. All right, for the mad scientist Brian Banner and our enforcer in the paint, Matt Geiger, I'm your mayor, Jeff Hornacek. We're the Broforce Squad podcast. This has been our 86th episode. Thank you guys so much for checking us out. Please follow us at Broforce Squad on Twitter. Type in Broforce Squad. That is 3 separate words on Letterboxd, iTunes, Spotify, and YouTube, and follow us and subscribe to us there, and check out all of our recent content, everything we've ever posted, and the links to everything you can find us on, and email us at broforcesquad.com. Till next time, I will catch you later. That'd be like if we had to be like, don't murder. It's like, okay, I mean, don't, but do we need the reminder?
Some people might.
Yeah, some people. I guarantee you we have a list that's been like, if no one tells me not to, I'm gonna kill somebody. And that's where we come in.
Yeah. Mission accomplished.